The real challenge with my art form, I think, compared to others, is time. I have one shot. I have 8 hours to do this. If it doesn't come out right after 8 hours, then I either have to do it again or just say this isn't gonna work. My great-great-grandfather opened the first Palmieri's Bakery on Federal Hill in the early 1900s. And it was just a little storefront place, you know, with one oven. His name was Domenico. And there's a really nice old-timey portrait where he's got kind of a swirly mustache like I have. My grandfather in the early 70s, 1971, decided to kind of branch off, do his own thing, which took a lot of guts. And everyone in my family pitched in when he opened up the place in Johnston, which he called D. Palmieri's Bakery to kind of differentiate it. I started working there full time right after college, like almost all millennials. I have a college degree in something that I'm never gonna use, and probably at the time knew I wasn't gonna use, but I do have a nice music degree. I was thinking maybe I could be a lawyer. You know, I was taking LSAT prep tests to see how I was doing there with that, if that was a possibility. I thought about being a teacher. I didn't want to be one of these classic third generation stories. The first generation builds it, the second generation expands it, the third generation loses it. That's like the classic line. And then there was this just devastating fire that burned the whole place down. Basically everything that my grandfather had built, everything that my dad had expanded upon, was gone in a matter of hours. To see like customers come to the site of the fire and like just stare at it, you know, people who had probably had orders that day that they were gonna pick up because they had a birthday party or something, and just to have people come up to us and say like how devastated they were. I didn't realize how important it was to the customers. That was a seminal moment for me because, you know, I think having grown up around it, it wasn't special to me. Like I didn't realize that a bakery, you know, could have that effect on people. And, you know, maybe they didn't even realize it until it was gone. I don't know. And so during that whole period where we were rebuilding it, I just had a new sense of like, this is what I want to do. And so I kind of threw myself into it just as much as I could.
It's the best bakery in the state. You think you're in Italy when you're in here.
The gravy is to die for. How are you gonna beat that? Can't beat that. But if you're more of a...
So much of what the bakery is today has my dad's fingerprints all over it. And so with the pizza art, I think part of my thinking was maybe there's an element where I'm in a position where I can transform it, even if it's just a little bit, you know, put my own little stamp on it. I'm a creative person by nature, right? I play music. I always liked art. I always liked to draw and do that stuff. I wasn't like great at it, you know, but I enjoyed it. And so I was like, wouldn't it be fun just to do like a really simple American flag pizza, right? It's like pepperoni stripes, you know, little olives for the stars, right? It doesn't even really look like an American flag. You know, the olives don't look like stars, but you know what it's supposed to be. And it was super successful, really popular. You know, at that point, like social media was just starting, I think, to like really become dominant, especially for businesses. Yeah, and I made tons of them. The next year, I was like, okay, well, what else can I do with this? So I basically took the same concept. I was like pepperoni and olives, like something else is simple. And I did a Pats logo, Patriots logo, for people who aren't cool and don't live in New England. Like, who's Pat? And I remember at the time that I made it, I was like, this is so cool. As I progressed with my skills in pizza art, I looked back on it, I was like, that is the most awful looking thing I've ever seen in my life. The Providence Journal had it, like a picture of it in the paper, and a news station from Boston came down and did like a piece on it because it was the playoffs, you know? I think that was when I was like, you know, there's something here.
Holy smokes, look at this.
This is like a sunset in Hawaii.
That's art you can eat. How about that? So this man is going viral for his unique, believe it or not, for his unique pizzas. Eric Palmieri joins us now on the phone this morning.
Good morning, Eric. Nice to hear your voice. It's not every day that somebody has a pizza portrait of themselves, if you will. Even the beard.
He got it down to a T.
Are you proud of this piece of art?
I am, yeah. I feel good about it. I like it, yeah.
I can tell you it smelled really good in that kitchen, too.
I mean, of all the, I would say the Chewbacca one was incredible.
They're so intricate, and Tony, he freehands everything.
And I just got really wrapped up in it and obsessed with it to the point where I was making like 3 or 4 of these things a week just for myself. And it was just a constant battle of like, how good can I make this? Like, how much can I make this pizza look like Wolverine? You know? And so I started playing with textures and highlighting and shading and coloring and perspective. All these things that I didn't know anything about, but was like learning how to do as I went.
Yeah, I asked him, I said, are you an artist? Like you draw,
yeah.
You know? And he says, no, not at all.
Wow.
So, but he just creates.
And yeah, I've been so lucky to have people with huge social media followings, and also people that I really like and respect, share my work. Some of the earliest portraits I did Dave Portnoy from Barstool, and he saw it, and I had posted it as a reply to one of his tweets on Twitter, and he, along with a Barstool pizza that I had made, and he quote tweeted it and said, "I just came," which was something I couldn't really use for marketing, but I so appreciated.
This thing, which I showed yesterday, the kid emailed me. This is a present from yesterday. It's made out of pizza. The guy's a pizza artist. No joke. Is it on here? Eric Palmieri. It's like pepperoni, mushroom, and something else, and cheese. Pretty fucking amazing. I didn't realize, like, oh, that's a cool thing. It's made of pizza, dude.
Seth MacFarlane, on National Dog Day, I posted a picture of my Brian pizza, and he retweeted it. People like Method Man have commented on my work. It's cool. Like, these are people who I've, enjoyed their work, my entire life. And now they're seeing and reacting to my work. When I first started doing work with NFTs, the technology is so amazing that it's enabled me to do these huge art pieces with pizza and get paid for it. The portraits I do on a smaller canvas, they're more like caricatures. I can only do so much to make them look like the person. But with these bigger canvases, I can get right down to the tiniest line in someone's face, and I've got the time to do it. So that's where I'm at now. Last year I did my pizza portrait series on musicians that died too young. This year I'm doing endangered species. I love animals.
Well, the local baker is combining his love of food and art to raise money for a cause that's close to his heart. Palmieri is channeling his love for animals, art, and food into an opportunity to raise money for charities close to his heart. He plans to donate partial proceeds of his work this year to the Wildlife Conservation Society in New York City, helping exotic animals and endangered species.
Luckily, I was able to find an organization that accepts cryptocurrency as a donation. And the mural I'm doing on Monday is going to be a lion. Big, regal-looking lion. I have done a lion pizza before on one pan. So the opportunity to do another one with much more detail on a much bigger canvas is just, I can't pass up that opportunity. I feel like I'm in a situation where I can claim it's the biggest work of pizza art ever made until I do a bigger one, which I don't know when that would be. But I think even as of now, the 6-pan piece I did is the biggest piece of pizza art in the world. And this will now, the 8-pan pizza I'm doing will now be the new king of all pizzas. The king of the jungle will be the king of all pizzas. So this one will be 6 feet by 4.5 feet. This would be a huge moment for me in my work, for sure. As far as my design process goes, so I work off of reference photos. And usually there's one dominant one that I really focus on. Because, you know, as talented as I am with what I do, like I don't know exactly what a lion looks like in my head. I have to go off of something, and I can't get a live lion, you know. And basically what I do is I grid it, and with the large projects it's super easy because I can literally, each pan can be a grid. So I'll look at the photo a lot before I do it, and I'll just think a lot about what I want to do. But yeah, it's mostly in my head, and then I kind of just go for it. When it comes to the pizzas I'm doing just as art pieces, not only is no one going to eat it, but I'm never even going to cook it. And the reason is because I don't want to waste food. The second I take that pizza out of the oven, it's almost impossible to use any of that food again. So I have the actual pizzas, the sheet pans of pizzas that are mostly cooked already, and I wrap them. And then I do the designs on top of the cling wrap. And the reason for that is that when I'm done, I can take all those ingredients off, put them away, and we can still use them in food products. When I know a pizza is going to be cooked and I know it's going to be eaten, I always put mozzarella cheese down first and then do the design on top of the cheese, because that's an essential element of a pizza. But when I'm doing the design, it's way easier to do the design and execute what I want to do if I'm working on top of saran wrap as opposed to clumps of mozzarella cheese that aren't cooked. So, you know, so in that instance, I'll only put the mozzarella in the negative spaces. So as far as people can tell, right, there's cheese under the whole thing. But I don't mind giving away a little bit of the behind the scenes. I want people to see the process. For the lion, you know, maybe for his face, you know, it's very short fur. So maybe I'll take the eggplant and chop it into really, really small pieces. Or maybe I'll take the eggplant slices and not cut them, you know, just use slabs of it to give the textural appearance of short fur. Whereas when I cut it into strips, I can kind of layer it and build it up and make it look like it has more volume. But a lion's mane isn't all brown, right? It's different shades of brown. It's kind of reddish. So do I want to use little strips of pepperoni and sprinkle those in there? Do I want to use crushed red pepper to give it a little bit of a red hue? Do I want to use garlic powder for some of the lighter areas? And sometimes during the process of making it, I have to change something that I had planned on doing. Didn't work the way I thought or whatever. Let's see here. All right, it's looking a little teddy bearish. Yeah, but right now his face is still kind of looking kind of wide. I think people might look at my work sometimes and say, oh, that's, you know, it's very light. You know, it's maybe, you might even say it's kind of vanilla, right? It could be sometimes. But hey, people like vanilla, you know? Everyone loves vanilla. And look, if it's making people smile, then I've done my job. I mean, there's nothing serious about my artwork. It's just fun. And I've tried to keep it that way. And it's exciting, man. It's something I've been working towards. And I knew I had to start with 4 pans. Then I did the 6 pan. Now I feel like I'm ready to do the 8. And then we'll see how big I can get. I mean, pretty soon I'll have to be making these things on the floor. I think I'm lucky because I have this bakery. Otherwise, how would I come across all these ingredients? And also, how would I make sure they didn't get wasted? So I'm in the perfect situation for what I do.